Hello and welcome to the Business Enricher Circle. I'm Rodrika Bennett, and this is the show where we will dissect strategies, mindsets, and branding behind what makes a remarkable business. My goal is basically to give you actionable insights that you can apply to your business immediately. And today we have the privilege to have an amazing guest that is a true architect in branding, Lori Ashley. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. I appreciate it.
So, Laura, could you tell us a little bit more about your business and your
Yeah,
background?
sure, you bet. So my background is really pretty much all in marketing and advertising. I actually graduated with my undergrad. My degree from college is journalism, actually, with an emphasis in radio, television, and film. And I always have worked in the media industry, but then I kind of fell into advertising on the media side, not selling advertising, but actually developing ad campaigns for TV networks and that type of thing. So have a long career in media, working for major media companies, over 25 plus years working for major media companies like CBS, Fox, HGTV is what brought me to Knoxville. And then in 2011, I was working for HGTV. I was head of marketing, creative, and brand strategy there. And there was a corporate reorganization, and I actually lost my job there and decided at that time that I needed to make a shift out of corporate media and decided to start my own ad agency based here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And the primary driver for that was that I had very small children at the time, and I was a single parent, and I wanted my children to be rooted somewhere. And in media, you move around a lot. So you may have a job for 3 or 4 years, and then, somebody comes in and there's a corporate reorg. It's just kind of the nature of the business. And I had done that for a very long time, and it suited me very well. And it was a great career. So I have no regrets whatsoever. But at this point in my life, with my children being as young as they were, I just felt like it was time for me to, maybe build something of my own and actually provide a little bit more security than working for a major media company, and provided a great foundation, for my kids to be able to be rooted in one place. But now I have a full service ad agency. We work with a lot of clients from a variety of industries. We are boutique. We're not industry specific, so we don't really focus on any one type of industry. So our clients are very diverse, very broad.
Mhm.
And yeah, we kind of do everything that, a traditional ad agency would do. I would say one way that we're a little different or a little unique is that we are extremely strategic right out of the gate. So we don't launch into ad campaigns until we really do, work with our clients to develop a very comprehensive strategic marketing and advertising plan that's really aligned with their business goals. So there's a lot of things that go into that, and we can maybe talk more about that in this podcast. But I would say that's one thing that kind of really separates us from traditional ad agencies.
I love it. I do something similar because for me, they always tell you niche down, niche down, niche down, and just
Hmm.
focus on this core group. But
Hmm.
for me, I just say as long as they are service based, I'm willing to help.
Sure.
And that's what I do. We had e-commerce businesses before, but it was taking more energy for that than the service base. So we shifted to only service base. So
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. And especially with the strategic part, because I feel that nowadays with this instant gratification market that we have, so many people are teaching business owners, oh, you need an ad, you need an ad, you need to add, just
Hmm.
run ads. And is when it's not working and they've invested so much money in ads and don't see the work, they think that, oh, well, maybe I don't have a good business versus actually building the foundation before putting the ads out. So we're very strategic on many of our clients that we have years 1 through 3 that we work with them, we don't do ads at all.
Hmm. Hmm.
We just really strategic on making sure their stuff is together.
Yeah, I always say, and that's so smart. And I always say that, it's about getting your house in order. You wouldn't invite people over to your house until your house is clean and decorated and all those good things, right? So why
Mhm.
would you invite customers over to your business, or go out and broadcast about your business until you feel like your business is in a good position to be able to tell the story and actually make sure that it's really differentiated, that it's got its own niche within its competitive environment. and, making sure that there's a really good story to tell, a really unique value proposition. And those are all the things that we dive into kind of out of the gate. And I will say that we do it pretty quickly. I mean, we will spend probably the first 6, 8, 10 weeks really doing a super deep dive and developing this comprehensive strategic marketing plan. There's
Mhm.
so much that goes into it. We do a SWOT analysis. We look at industry trends. We look at the competitive landscape. We look at their current storytelling. How are they messaging? How are they branding? How are they unique within their space? Who is their target customer? So obviously a deep dive into the target customer, who's most likely to buy their products and services, and what compels them into action. And we get our really good understanding of their target customer, and making sure that any messaging, branding, advertising strategies that we're doing are really aligned with appealing to that target audience. And then obviously finding out where to find them. There's so many media platforms now, and obviously, as social media and digital media has changed that, which I think for the better, but there's just a multitude of places in which to find a business's target customer, or find their
Right.
audience. So you have to really do the research on that too, and then make the most judicious media spend recommendations. So for us, doing that out of the gate, what we think is smart about that is that you're not just throwing stuff up on the wall to see what sticks, and then you're not wasting money. You're being super efficient, and everything that you're doing is rooted in something that's strategic and thoughtful, that's been vetted, that's been researched, that's been discussed. And that also helps you kind of keep your clients on track too. So, as months go by and you're implementing, drip marketing or ongoing marketing and advertising activities, if, something comes up that, looks like a shiny new object over here that the company needs to go focus on, we can say, hey, remember, this is our plan. This is what we all agreed on and what we know to be true in order for us to grow the business. And it doesn't mean that, things don't come up where you can't adapt or adjust or be nimble. Of course, absolutely, those things happen. But at the core, it's extremely important to, stay consistent, because advertising and marketing, as you know, is really about consistency. It's about consistency.
And that's, I think that's what people are impatient with, because they feel that if they are posting for a week or two, they should have results.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And that's not true. And for us, we make sure that we do a campaign for at least 90 days,
Mm-hmm.
evaluate that, and
Mm-hmm.
then do feedback and changes after that 90 days. We
Yeah.
don't change anything because it takes time for our algorithm to actually catch on to what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. We're the same way. So our a minimum on our digital is 90 days. It's 3 months. You can't get a digital campaign, certainly up, running, optimized, and be able to kind of get any real data, in any time shorter than that. I mean, the beauty of it is, though, we are getting real time data, so we're able to monitor things just like I'm sure you're able to. And then you can do A/B testing with creative, so you can run multiple pieces of creative and see,
Mhm.
what audiences are engaging and reacting to. So that's wonderful. And then just having that real time data, whether it's monthly or at the end of 3 months, it really provides so much information and intelligence for us to be able to go back and modify, campaign messaging, campaign strategies, target audience, what have you. It's just that it's such a beauty of digital. We don't have that same kind of reporting or the same kind of data gathering with television or radio or print, obviously.
Right. And I think when it comes to that, because you're basically using a different, because I call them audits. I call them deep
Hmm.
dive
Hmm.
audits.
Hmm.
And you're basically doing a form of a deep dive audit to really understand that business, but also to make sure that that client truly knows who their true audience is and their business. Because sometimes people think their audience is one group of people, but they're appealing to another group of people, and they're not realizing that their messaging is not going towards the people that they actually want to reach. So with that, and then the competitive landscape, what are some like first steps in branding that you would recommend to people?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it's going to be so different, varied based on the business and who they're targeting, and what their competitors are saying. But I think at the core, it really is making sure that the company is communicating what separates them apart from their competition, but also what solution they provide, whether it be a product solution or a services solution, or everybody has a pain point, right? So my
Right.
business serves a pain point for other companies. Products and services that I buy serve a pain point, or fulfill a pain point and create a solution. And it's really kind of making sure that we get at the core of what that is.
Mhm.
What pain point do we solve, and how do we communicate that in a way that's unique and compelling, and that will resonate with the target audience. And so that's why when you were talking about why it's so important to have a good understanding of that target audience, is because there are going to be some similarities across um, you know behavioral responses, or how an audience hears a message, from tone to style to,
Mm.
is it an emotional connection? Is it a scientific connection? I mean, what are the things, what are the drivers, what are the core drivers that are going to connect most with that target audience, and making sure that a business is telling their story in a way that's extremely meaningful. And so it really does start with, one, understanding the business, understanding their products and services, making sure that they have a unique value proposition, and if they don't, they need to figure it out. But then also then understanding the target audience, and then how you communicate directly to the target audience to make sure that that business is relevant. So it does take some time. And then obviously we say, brand expression, which is the look and feel. So what's the branding like, and making sure that that branding and that brand expression is extremely consistent across all customer touch points. So there is a lot that goes into it, but I think first and foremost, it's just understanding the business, what sets them apart, and then really getting a good understanding of the target audience.
And I think that's a great like branding blueprint that
Mm-hmm.
once you know those elements, that can be great. So if once you kind of have like your blueprint in place, or you have built your brand successfully, what is your take on partnerships, or how do you think that different brands should start building partnerships through marketing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really again depends on the business, and how much value they think a partnership could bring.
Okay.
And it's interesting. We've even seen kind of the evolution of the influencer, right? So,
Right.
are there influencers out there that can have impact? And I know there was a time, actually, I would say maybe 3 years ago, where influencers were all the rage, and everybody had to have an influencer, and let's connect with an influencer. Now I think we're starting to see a downward trend of that, because I think it's become less authentic, and they're not necessarily, these influencers aren't necessarily seen as really moving the needle. It's not to say that some don't, but less and less so, I think, are becoming such a big deal. But I do think that it is just really, exploring all options, and being creative about ways in which to get your message out there. And if you can
Mhm.
form partnerships or alliances that are a seamless fit,
Mhm.
and that share your same values, or share your same message, or a complementary product or a service where, hey, we don't do this but you do that, but our businesses are closely aligned. Why don't we work together in order to to lift all boats, to rise the tide for all boats? I think that's always something that business should be looking for, to explore. We do it. We actually say, hey, if we have a client that has this product and service, and we have a client over here that has a need for that, or has some sort of complementary business, can we connect the two? And we it's always based on, is it morally right? In other words, are they, we're not doing it just to make money or anything like that. It's really truly, can these two clients that we have create value for each other? And yeah, always looking for non-traditional ways in which to grow the business too. So just what are some non-traditional revenue streams that we can think of that fit within our wheelhouse, but aren't necessarily at the core of what we do day in and day out?
I love it. And the reason I really asked that question is because I see that with the influencer marketing, a lot of people are trying to shift towards that. And earlier this year, LinkedIn rolled out video on their format on
Mm-hmm.
their platform, and it started out kind of good for like the first 3 months, and then it started going down where people weren't really uploading videos to LinkedIn that
Mm-hmm.
much. But now, recently, LinkedIn um, is rolling out like this this plan called Brand Link, where
Mhm.
they're having professionals to do content and then allowing businesses to be linked up to those professionals
Mm.
who are putting content um, on LinkedIn. So they're
Yeah.
doing another form of influencer marketing, or they're releasing it, but they're trying to do it from a more professional side.
Yeah, I heard that, and then I actually looked into that, and I think they started it and stopped it because there was an issue or something, and maybe they're refining it or something. But it might be out there now. I'm not sure, but I use video a lot for LinkedIn personally. I actually do thought leadership videos, just like free tips, free business advice, like just things within marketing space. Some things not. Some are just like business administrative related. Like what are the tools that I use as a business to help me be, quicker, more efficient, more effective, those types of things. I'll just do tips, and I do them on video and just share them on LinkedIn. And I think the use of video is so key, and it's becoming. I think video is, in fact, the have the most demand right now for video. I've added actually 2 videographers to my staff recently. We've gotten drone certified because we're just using video content for everything. We're using it on LinkedIn and social and display ads and video pre-roll and OTT, and we're just using it everywhere. So,
Yeah, I actually just went through the process of getting a drone myself
mm-hmm,
for my company.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm not gonna spend too much money for this one because I actually want to learn how to fly it
Oh,
myself
do you? Yeah,
first.
yeah, yeah. Good for you.
And I said I would go get a more expensive one for the company, because
Yeah,
I feel like many times as business owners, yeah, you don't have to know everything or be perfect at it, but I feel like you should actually know what your employees are having to do. So that's why
yeah,
I was like, well, let me learn first so I can see
yeah.
what they had to learn in different things. And then I'm fine with them, taking over everything.
Sure.
But I think that's one of the foundational things, that business owners should know the process of what's going behind the scenes in every department. Um, but I definitely love the format of video. And one of my things that I said I was going to start doing soon is when I do new connections on LinkedIn, I'm not going to just text a regular text,
Mm-hmm.
because there are so many AIs out there that's just
Mm,
sending people generic stuff. I'm going to take the time and do a quick video saying hey and their name, thank you for the connection, and different stuff, and sending them a personal message, because I feel like personal relationships are valuable in
mm.
marketing.
Mhm. Yeah, could not agree more. I think that's, I would say even we've been in business now, CMO Co. Marketing and Advertising, which is the name of my agency, has been in business now. We're starting to celebrate in 2026 our 15th year in business. And I would say
Congrats.
still to this, thank you, thank you. Yeah. So I would say even to this day, I would say about 75% of our business, our new clients comes from referrals and word of mouth, and I've connected with somebody at some point and they referred me to somebody else, or I worked with somebody at one company, they left that company, went to another place. So personal relationships, and I think now more than ever too, because I think we've divided ourselves with screens so much, and we're so myopic in how we consume messaging and media and so forth. I think that human connection is as important and ever as it ever has been. And I think that, being able to use video to bring yourself to life and to be able to tell a story and talk, and just like we're doing right now, I mean, this is a great form of marketing, right? It's just having a
Mhm.
conversation, being able to tell our story in a longer format, letting the audience get to know us better, more than what we're about than just a traditional ad, that's 30 seconds or 15 seconds. This is such a great format to be able to really communicate, a good message.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. And for us, like I've been in business for 15 years, but the first 4 I was doing it part-time.
Hmm.
Um only having my company open 3 days a week, because I was working for the government. And then after that first 4 years, I was like, well, my business is making the same as my government job, so I might as well just focus wholly on the business. And I can honestly say, since I've been in business, I've never ran an ad, and all of our stuff is 80% referrals. And sometimes we may send out like cold advertisement. And when I say cold advertisement, I send out postcards to different business owners, and then we get clients that way. But those are our methods of actually advertising to different people so far. So and with that, I kind of want to go into campaign execution
Mhm.
because there are multi layers of campaigns when it comes to marketing, digital marketing, advertisement, and PR. So, what are your thoughts on how people should tap into the different channels when it comes to actually conveying their story?
Yeah, so again, I think it's gonna depend on who you're trying to talk to and knowing where they are. It's finding the audience, so that's why the research is so important. So, once you kinda know who your target customer is, having the research of how they consume media and how you can get your message in front of them is so important. And a
Mhm.
lot of that boils down to what are their behaviors? Where are they consuming media? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Meta? Are they, accessing email? Where are the ways in which you can or what are the platforms rather in which you can reach these people? And so I think that's it. It does take somebody who's trained, in knowing what they're doing and has a background in marketing, and it goes into media planning, which is extremely important. And we have media planners on site that we have one. I have one media planner that just focuses all on digital, and then I have another media planner that focuses all on non-digital, so it would be radio, TV, print, trade media, PR, or earned media exposure, that type of thing. So, it takes a lot of time and effort to be able to kind of do the research and finding out what are the best platforms to be in, and then what media is available on those platforms, negotiating the rates, setting up the campaigns. It can be quite extensive. So, I always encourage people that if you're first dipping your toes into advertising, really hire somebody that, and I'm not just saying that because I know I own an ad agency, but I hire people that don't know that know the things I don't know. I don't do my own books. I don't, I have a bookkeeper, I have an accountant, I have, a support team of people that are really, proficient at things I'm not proficient at. So I would always encourage somebody who is got a business who needs to do some advertising to make sure that they align themselves with somebody who is trained and experienced and can help guide them in the right direction.
I definitely agree. And then I also recommend that they vet these people who they're hiring because there are a lot of people just coming out of the gate saying, "Oh, I have a marketing
I
agency and I'm
know.
doing X, Y, and Z," and then they mess up everything
Hmm.
and mess up the trust that people have in marketing agencies. So I definitely say make sure that this person has been in business for a while before you go paying them
Yeah.
3K or higher for
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
on a
Or
campaign.
or they're like somebody who's like, "Oh, I do really good on my own social media, so I can manage your social media." It's like everybody is an armchair. I like to say everybody's an armchair marketer. So yes, I could not agree more. So make sure that you ask what their training is, ask for case studies, ask for, if you have a business in a specific industry and it's important for you to have somebody that kind of understands that industry, ask them their industry experience, ask them to ask for referrals, ask for, references, do your due diligence because you're absolutely right. You can spend a lot of money with an ad agency and not get any results. And I'm not going to sit here and say that everything we do is a perfect science because it's not. So, it's not. And like you said from the very beginning, people, have a tendency to think, oh, I'm spending 3 grand a month on a paid advertising campaign and I haven't seen any results. I mean, it's not a light switch. Marketing is consistency over time,
Mhm.
especially with the amount of messaging that people are bombarded with on a daily basis. It's thousands, literally thousands of pieces of messages that people are bombarded with every single day. And your message cutting through is going to take some time no matter what it is. And some campaigns of course are going to be more stickier than others and they're going to resonate really quickly, but not overnight. And so I always say to companies, are you, and we talk about this a lot sometimes when we're onboarding new clients, we have what's called like a client success survey that we ask our clients to fill out because we want to know out of the gate, are we on the same page in terms of expectations? And that way we know right out of the gate, hey, their expectation is that they're going to grow their business 10% in 3 months. And then we can just level set right then and just say, look, that's too lofty of a goal that we know we can't meet. We hope to meet it, but in all fairness, we just don't see that happening. And so, this is what we believe a good time frame would be for measuring success. And
Mhm.
yeah, you just have to stay the course.
I think that's a good idea to actually do that that survey. So I don't do a survey, but I
Mhm.
typically, like when I do a discovery call, I'll ask them, "Hey, what are your goals that you're
Mhm.
trying to actually accomplish through marketing and advertisement?" And then I'll let them know if that goal is feasible within that time frame that they have. But
Mhm.
I may save time by actually doing a success form ahead of time versus waiting to the discovery call.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to share it with you. Yeah, it's just a really it's just like a questionnaire, and it's just we learn a lot from it,
Mhm.
and it's really above and beyond kind of the strategy. It's the first thing that we send our clients is really just this client success questionnaire. It's kind of part of their onboarding documents, and it really does just give us the opportunity to kind of really see where their head's at and ask some
Okay.
questions and just kind of level set everything from the beginning. So I mean, obviously, our goal is to be successful with our clients. And so
Mhm.
the more we know out of the gate, I think the better chance of success that we have.
So, when we're talking about success, how do you measure, or what measurements do you classify as being a success impact for the client?
Yeah, so primarily, I would say it's revenue.
Okay.
Most clients that are coming to us are looking to increase their revenue or increase their income, of course. So usually we set goals for that, and we're closely monitoring that, tied to campaigns. And so obviously, we're making an ad spend recommendation based on a percentage of what their revenue expectation is, and so we're looking for a 3 to 4 to 5, higher, great return on that ad spend. So revenue, I would say, is a huge component, the number one component. We know that that's what our clients looking for, but also there's
Mhm.
um, qualitative goals that a company may have in terms of just building more overall awareness for their organization, being able to tell their story in a better way, having more positive customer sentiment.
Mhm.
Those are I would say tangible things that aren't necessarily tied to revenue but still can impact revenue. So yeah, those are all the things that we're again trying to understand out of the gate with our clients. What is it that their goals are? What is it that they want to accomplish? And so those are the things that we're continuously measuring.
Okay. So, for example, because I definitely know we have business owners who have not connected to a marketing agency,
Hmm.
and maybe they are trying to do ad campaigns for themselves, and say they want to increase their revenue by 10K. What would be your recommended ad spend for them over a period of 3 months?
Depending upon the business that they're in, I would say 10%, and that's a little high to be honest. But again, traditional retailers spend 3 to 5% of their revenue on advertising. But there are other companies and other industries that go up as high as 15%. So depending upon how rapid you want the growth to be,
Mhm.
obviously you're going to want to increase that ad spend. So, yeah, that's usually kind of the benchmark, but we're really researching when we're making our ad spend recommendations. We're really basing it on kind of the industry standard, and then also having a good understanding of what our client is comfortable with. But we also say to them, like, if you're only going to spend, if your expectation is to make, $100,000 and you only want to spend $100 every month, then you're not going to make
That's
it.
not
So
realistic.
yeah, it's never going to happen. Like, don't spend 100 because that's a waste. So,
Right.
so we definitely say, there definitely needs to be some minimums. And so, what are you willing to, invest? And obviously for startups, it's very different. I think it's a much more aggressive advertising spend that needs to happen out of the gate. So you have to, be willing to invest in spending money without having necessarily income coming in the door immediately. but
Mhm.
we're still looking for a return on that ad spend. But it's something that, you just have to be committed to in order to get the word out.
So and I guess one of my questions I'm asking about this is because I'm always reading, and especially
Hmm.
marketing books. And
Hmm.
there are some authors that will tell people that if you are new to business, that it's okay to start using ads even if you're only doing $100 or $500 a month towards ad spend to grow their business. What is your thoughts on that?
It would be hard, I think, to spend that little. It depends on who you're targeting, I guess, and what you could get for that kind of money. I don't know how much what media you can get for
Mhm.
$100 or $500. I mean, you might be able to do like some Google SEM for $500, but it's going to be a very narrow target.
Mhm.
And again, depending upon the keyword competitiveness in that space and that type of thing. But and you can obviously do. We don't do this, but what's the boost social media posts? Like organic, you can boost. But I mean, we don't really do that. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was talking about the social media boost. I honestly, because I had a client who was doing that, and when I was looking at the data points from her doing the social media boost, it only boosts or repeatedly shows it to her friends. It doesn't go
Yeah,
past her friends.
yeah.
So you're wasting money
Right,
if
you're just
you're.
kinda talking to yourself, and so, this is the one thing too that people, and I've talked about this on other podcasts, but so many people have such high expectations of their organic social media, and it's just so
Mhm.
limited, right? Like, people, especially for a business, because, Zuckerberg isn't gonna let you build your business on his back for free, right? So,
Right,
if you're a business and you should have organic social media content being posted on a regular basis. It is laborious and it does require an investment, but I do really encourage it because search engines place such a huge emphasis on having active social signals. And then obviously consumers now use social media as research, right? They go to research a company. If they see that you haven't posted in 3 years or 4 months, then they may not know that you're open for business. So they're using social media as a litmus test to see, how relevant and how current you are as a business. But your content in organic social media is suppressed. It's only shown to maybe 2 to 3% of your followers at best. So for you to think that your organic social media is going to help you get the word out and grow your reach and your exposure as a brand, it's just not going to do that. It's going to be somewhat limited. I mean, there are organic social media accounts that do work really hard for companies, but I would say those are for brands that people really love to interact with, if that
right.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that when I forgot what book it was, but I remember that the author was a man, and he was saying that just get started, even if you're spending $100 to $500 on advertisement. And I was like, and when I was thinking about it, I was like, the only thing that will probably do is build some brand awareness
Yeah.
where people would know that your brand is there, but it won't convert into anything.
So I think the best thing that you can do if you're a small business starting out is just try to collect a data, like start gathering emails, start, even if it's your friends, it's again, we talk about having personal connections, but get email addresses, start emailing people, tell your story via email. Obviously get your Google My Business page set up, make sure that all you've got, your office address, your hours of operation, post any promotions on your Google My Business, make sure that's really shored up. Get your organic social media set up, get content posted, do those types of things for sure. But really, I would say use email as much as you can to try to connect with people, to try to make people um, aware of your business. Those are going to be, I think, the cheapest things that you can do that aren't going to require a huge investment. That, if anything, maybe you'll connect with one person and then it'll lead to something else and it'll lead to something else. You do have to start somewhere. That's important.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Lori, so much. This has been almost like a little master class
Yeah.
conversation, and I love it. I
Mhm.
just want to recap to the listeners a little bit about building a powerful brand. It has to be strategic, guys. You can't just think it's going to happen within a 30-day marker. It has to be done over time, and it requires you to have a lot of discipline and create value for the people who you want to connect with, so that you can have a movable relationship with your clients or your potential clients. So after 25 years of um after when we think about it, after the past 25 years, how brands have been changing over time, what's a piece of timeless advice that you would give to our listeners?
Well, okay. So, and this maybe isn't related necessarily to brands, but I would say that you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result, right? So it is if you aren't seeing results and you're taking the same approach and you keep just thinking that you have to keep pushing that same approach, whatever it may be.
Hmm.
I'm only using organic social media. I'm only using LinkedIn. I'm only doing display ads. And that's what you just keep doing that and you're not seeing results. You're not, you can't keep doing the same thing. So be
Right.
nimble, be willing to listen to your audience, be listening to stay plugged in, know what market trends are happening, be don't be risk averse, be willing to take some risk and try different things.
Hmm.
And I think those are really important things. I also think one of the most important things that you can do is just be true to who you are. Make sure that what your customer experiences when they work with you is what you're telling people they will experience. Don't tell people one thing and then have them come to you and that experience be something completely different. There's no faster way to kill your business.
Awesome. So, Lori, for those who are listening, how could they connect with you if they have more questions in the future?
Yeah, well, feel free to email me. It's Lori, Lori, at cmoco.com. That's Lori at cmoco.com. And you can go to our website also. It's cmoco.com. And also, I have a landing page. It's just called leadwithlori.com. If you go straight there, there's some downloadable resources like five must do's for advertising your business and
Mhm.
some other tips and things that you might free resources that you could download. But yeah, feel free to reach out. Always happy to talk to people. Love connecting with people and would certainly love to collaborate with people. So please reach out.
Awesome. So Lori Asbury, everyone, you can find again, you can find her links at the bottom of our show, and you will be able to continue to connect with her after this podcast. And until next time, keep building and enriching yourself for the future.